Tears of the Kingdom has no shortage of insane glitches and game-breaking tricks, which allows the game to be beaten in under 45 minutes. These tricks range from simple duplication glitches to advanced out-of-bounds skips, and in this video I'm going to be going through the 10 best tricks in the any percent run of Tears of the Kingdom. So let's get started with the number 10 spot. During the any percent run of Tears of the Kingdom, runners will immediately go from the Great Sky Island straight to the depths under Hyrule Castle. This of course means that the entirety of the paraglider quest is skipped, and as we won't have a paraglider at any point during this run, it's necessary to find other ways to avoid taking fall damage with both glitches and intended mechanics. Similar to Breath of the Wild, there is a glitch that you can perform to stop Link taking fall damage from any height, by basically just resetting Link's position to right before you land, so you either take little or no damage. Though, in this game it's a lot more advanced than in Breath of the Wild. This trick gets used a couple of times throughout the run, mainly after the Sky Islands to both get down to the ground fast and to land safely in the battle arena at the very bottom of the depths. Without this glitch, runners would be unable to travel down to the final battle arena, and so this is a vital glitch for the run, although not the most spectacular or crazy looking. As soon as the run reaches the Sky Island, speedrunners are already taking an alternate path before even exiting the first room. By performing a very specific jump slash, you can barely make it up to this ledge here. From there, it's a straightforward path to the top of this island where a chest full of wings are located, which is super important for the rest of this run. After grabbing the wings, you can simply jump off the side to start the cinematic title screen, which will activate no matter where you jump off from. Not only is this a quicker route as it avoids a cutscene and several movement tutorial sections, but it also gives you the Zonai wings, which after being duplicated gets used a lot during this run for traversal around the Great Sky Island. So this is an incredibly useful skip to get runs started. At one of the lower spots I wanted to talk about some small optimizations that are used throughout the run to speed up travel times from area to area. The way runners will travel in the air is with the use of wings. Wings are so vital to the run as there is so much dead space that needs to be travelled, and wings are able to do this both around the Great Sky Island and getting down to the castle fast. Wings can be also chained together to extend their usual lifespan, which comes in handy when travelling the long distance to Hyrule Castle. While travelling on wings, it also gives opportunities for other things such as using the duplication glitch to duplicate valuable resources for later on in the run. On top of that, wings can be paired with other abilities such as bomb flower jumping and the ascend ability, which allow routes to be super creative, such as the part between the Fuse and Ultra Hand Shrine. There is no doubt that wings make up a massive part of the any percent run, and without them runs would be much longer and look entirely different. At the number 7 spot is a trick that gets used both at the beginning and at the end of the speedrun, due to its overall effectiveness with heightening aerial movement. This trick is simply just a basic jump attack, but if used at the right scenario can cause Link to gain much more horizontal movement than just skydiving in the air. It's super simple to do, as all it is cancelling a skydive by pressing B, pressing Y while holding the direction you want to head in, and then pressing R again to enter skydive. By repeating these 3 button presses in a steady rhythm, you can gain a lot of distance without losing too much height. This mechanic works as jump slashing allows further jumps, while entering skydive resets the jump slash, allowing you to chain the movement together and eventually build up speed. The movement when mastered is super useful in the run, as you will see in these next 2 tricks. The next trick is a pretty crazy one that combines a bunch of mechanics to manipulate Link's spawn to allow for much quicker travel to the first shrine. There are a few major components of this glitch, but the general idea is that we want to fast travel all the way back up to the highest island after interacting with the Temple of Time, which opens up all the shrines. Then from this higher point it becomes much easier to simply glide over to the Ascend Shrine rather than having to slowly climb all the way up to it. As soon as the cinematic cutscene finishes and you gain control of Link, immediately start jump slashing through the air to make your way over to the side wall next to the construct. Right before you grab the wall, chuck down a wing so you're able to stand on top of it. It's very important that you do not touch the ground at all during this glitch, as when you fall off the map, the game tries to reset you back to the last stable ground you were standing on, which wings aren't counted as. So as long as you stand on top of the wings, Link will respawn back on the top Sky Island. From the single wing, place a couple more down and interact with this construct to grab the Pura Pad. After grabbing it, fly on down to the Temple of Time and interact with the door to open up all the shrines. Now, to simply return to the top, just jump off the side again, making sure not to touch the ground and using wings as platforms. After the screen fades to white, you will find yourself back up where you originally jumped off, From here, just jump off into the small lake next to you, and from there you can simply fly down to the Ascent Shrine. After defeating Ganondorf in proper combat, he then transforms into a demon dragon, which is more of a theatrical fight rather than an actual difficult fight, and is quite similar to Dark Beast Ganon from Breath of the Wild on how it's sort of like a playable cutscene. Unlike Dark Beast though, the dragon fight can actually be sped up. Speedrunners are able to do this as when assist is destroyed, it will launch Link away, and if timed properly, you can use this launch to propel Link up into the air. From there, you can drop a wing and travel quickly across to the next weak point. You can only destroy 2 of these at a time before the dragon will begin flying around, and you will need to wait before the spots become vulnerable again. Movement during this fight involves a lot of jump attacks and skydive movement, due to the fact that the game expects you to have the paraglider at this point. Because of this, timing when you jump off the light dragon is vital to make sure you land exactly where you're aiming for, as missing loses tons of time. After 2 cycles of this skip, the final segment plays out the same, where you take out the tear on the head of the dragon, and the speedrun ends as soon as you catch Zelda. The very beginning of Tears of the Kingdom takes place far under Hyrule Castle, and is pretty much just a glorified cutscene with a bunch of walking and Zelda talking. For quite a while it was thought that this entire opening section would just remain slow and have little speedrunning potential, so much so this section was cut out at times due to it taking up large segments of the start of the run. Shortly after the community voted, a new glitch was discovered that allowed runners to simply just clip through the ceiling of caves, by simply placing Link in a very specific spot on the stalactite and just jumping through into the out of bounds area. Once outside the map, a very specific route had to be taken on top of the inbounds area to not only just stay on top of the map, but to also avoid several cutscene triggers along the way to the final room. To avoid some of these cutscene triggers, the before mentioned jump slash movement tricks are used in full here to make much larger jumps. By following this route through running, jumping and climbing around cutscene triggers, you'll finally find yourself at the end of the playable area. In the distance is the final cutscene with Ganon, and to get over there you have to cross this massive void, again by just jump slashing over there. When you get close enough, the cutscene will play, which gives you 4 minutes to sit through cutscenes before continuing the run. Sadly, there is no way currently to skip this opening cutscene, and most likely one will not be found, but at least we have this cool out of bounds skip to shave off a whole minute of any run. The very first duplication glitch discovered in Tears of the Kingdom is by far the quickest and easiest one, and due to this is easily incorporated with the any % run at multiple points for several different items. This duplication glitch, like many of the other glitches in this run, have now been patched out due to how quickly they were discovered and how easy they were to actually abuse. So for now this glitch is only possible in the original version. The glitch allows you to duplicate items by simply jumping and holding a couple of items and then holding down both the B and the Y button. If you time this correctly, you will drop extra of whatever items you want duplicated. The run uses this for multiple items, from cooking materials to bomb flowers. Keep in mind this will only work with materials, but for the duplication of Zonai devices, another similar glitch is used that requires limited space instead of being in the air for it to work. These duplication glitches are super important for the run, as collecting multiple rare resources takes much longer than simply just making extra ones appear in front of you. Also, because of the ability to have as many items as needed, runners don't have to worry about wasting items such as wings, and can use them as plentifully as they like throughout the run. The Zuggle glitch allows you to make any weapon incredibly strong, while also having plenty of other game-breaking effects. To perform Zuggle, a series of inputs must be done over and over again to overload menus into thinking you have several weapons out at once. By doing this, you will see some visual glitches with weapons in Link's hand, and also much higher damage output when attacking enemies with these Zuggle weapons, as the damages stack with every weapon you unsync with the menu. This glitch is quite vital to the run, as it saves runners having to get several strong weapons, which could take a massive chunk of time out of the run. The Ganondorf fight is normally quite a formidable one, with 3 grueling stages with increasing difficulty, but with Zuggle, runners can simply just destroy Ganon's health bar in a matter of seconds, with a couple of well executed flurry rushes. Once Ganondorf is defeated, during the following cutscene the Zuggle glitch is still active, and we get to be treated to this silly looking cutscene. During the Demon Dragon fight, the Zuggle glitch is ended by simply dropping the Zuggled weapon, as it can cause issues during the last fight, so runners don't risk it by just getting rid of it. The Zuggle glitch also has a bunch of random effects outside of stronger weapons, which don't get used inside the any % run, which I'll go into more detail in the next section. Here are some extra glitches that are pretty useful or fun to learn, but are either not viable in runs or outclassed by other glitches. Throw cancelling is a super simple glitch that allows you to throw items much faster, which is useful for dealing with large groups of enemies fast. There is a way to rocket jump to gain easy height and distance by manipulating the fuse ability in rockets. This glitch allows you to jump multiple times with a lot of speed, and these jumps can be saved for later use as well. This glitch isn't set up in the any % run due to no rockets being available on the Great Sky Island. Auto build cancel slide is another insane movement glitch that allows you to travel at blisteringly fast speeds with simply any auto build object. This glitch was actually considered in alternate routing for any %, but as the name suggests, auto build is required, which would involve having to travel to the depths to collect it. So because of this, it sadly doesn't get used, but it's still a super cool glitch to watch and try out. The final glitch I wanted to talk about is related to the Zuggle glitch, and is a form of clipping that was used in some of the earlier runs to clip through to the Ganon fight from the surface. By performing the Zuggle glitch a bunch of times, eventually the game would be overloaded, and some super weird effects would happen on top of the weird interaction with items. One of these weird effects is that when using a steering stick, Link would simply just clip straight through the ground, which when used in this spot here allowed runners to simply travel down under Hyrule Castle with ease. This glitch was used for some time before the discovery of this next glitch, which changed runs forever. The number one glitch for speedrunning in Tears of the Kingdom goes to one of the later discovered glitches, and that is the ceiling clip. The glitch alone skips two huge parts of the any % by skipping the entirety of the depths trials, as well as a whole 5 bosses right before Ganon. By clipping through the underside of the battle arena and simply clipping back in past the gloom blockage, runners are able to skip the otherwise mandatory boss fights. Normally in a full run of Tears of the Kingdom, you won't have to fight any bosses here as you've already defeated them in their respective dungeons, similar to how the Blights worked in Breath of the Wild. So instead of having to verse 5 long boss fights, they can simply be skipped if you go straight to the Ganondorf through these 2 clips. The other major time saves comes from clipping out of bounds on the surface and simply skydiving all the way down to the final fight arena. This allows runners to head straight down rather than having to travel through the heavily guarded, gloom-filled corridors, which you would normally have to travel through to reach the very bottom. The way this glitch works is similar to how the full damage cancel glitch mentioned earlier works, but instead of being used once, it's done multiple times to gain up to infinite height. To actually clip through the ceiling, Link's head needs to be lined up in the right spot for the next jump to just clip straight through the roof. A couple more jumps will get you cleanly through, where you can then explore the out of bounds freely. This glitch alone saves massive amounts of time and changes the entire route from the Great Sky Island to the final fight, making it easily the best speedrunning trick in Tears of the Kingdom. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to learn more about speedrunning tricks in games, check out either one of these videos on screen for both Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey tricks and glitches.